Hi, Merry Christmas, everyone. Hey, for the newcomers, thanks so much for connecting, guys. A lot of you are connecting. I'm going to have to run through many comments, and I'll be probably doing that tonight. I've been putting it back for 2 or 3 days, right? Trying to get as many videos up as I can. Snowstorm here. I'll get some of that footage up. Explosions out in space and interstellar space. Another region of the universe that I am studying. My goal was always to be able to try and understand where we are actually sitting. What's around us? How is the universe itself holding up? And what is the universe? First of all, how would it be shaped and what would it look like? Well, these are things that interest me a lot. You're looking at an explosion or something that happened. When I take shots of the sky and I take 20, 30 shots at once, and I just repeat. During meteor showers in certain constellations, you could see beautiful objects coming out of the nebulae. Now, either this was an explosion and something definitely hit. We could see a tail end. Look at the beautiful object on the bottom there that's trailing away from this massive explosion. And why am I saying an explosion? It doesn't look like a nebulae. It looks like a literal fire cloud. But again, it could be a nebulae. We're going to talk a little bit and a lot actually about nebulae today. What are nebulas? It's the most amazing thing. Stars are created there. They're born there inside of the nebulae. And we're also going to talk a bit about interstellar space today to understand exactly where we are and where these asteroids are coming from. Why in particularly? Well, we all know that Oumuamua, Hawaiian name, most definitely, asteroid, and I love the name. It is going into interstellar space past the Lyra constellation. They believe it came from the Lyra constellation in the proximity of the star Vega. So we're looking close up at the massive plume of energy that is out there. I mean, in interstellar space, where the nebulae are and forming, there's dust. 99% of it is dust. There is helium. There's a bit of a mixture, but in general, nothing's going on out there. This is all the dense gases and clouds. It could be either ionic. It could be, there's different states of matter. I mean, poof, brain explosion. There's so many things to take into consideration when understanding how the universe is formed. And I'm starting to and trying to bring you an idea of how it's formed without all the big fancy words, which is basically impossible. Look at this beautiful object with the tail end that's coming from this, I don't know, explosion. I was pretty sure it was an explosion. This is a nebulae, exactly the Horsehead Nebula actually, and we can see inside with a filtering of it. I also like in a photo, these objects that are around it don't show up. These objects are feeding off of the nebulas. The nebulas give off certain gases, whatever elements are conjuring up inside of these nebulas, while the surrounding stars are in some way connected and remain close by to feed off of them. So the cloud complex, we're looking at areas in interstellar space, which is basically an area, I said it in the last video, once the sun, the magnetism and the magnetic field that it's pushing 600,000 miles per minute or per second. I don't know how fast it's going. Beyond that, what accumulates is, all the cloud complex, the interstellar space. And that is beyond, we're enveloped in it, if you want. It's beyond our galaxy, it's beyond the solar system. And when you look straight up in the sky at night, and straight overhead, well, the Milky Way, the complex is there. It's a massive cloud. In photos, some people, I'm sure they're not even sure that they're getting it, but it literally looks like a cloud in the sky, and it's actually so dense. And say to yourself, guys, it's not even, there's not even a star that's close to one another. So how dense can it be if it looks like a carpet? Think of it. Not just how dense it is, how far are these objects? They have to be far away if we're seeing them that dense. This is a light enhancing technique. This is how I've always done it, to view objects in the dark, to see their shape and forms, if there are any mountainous surfaces on the moon, for example, that of areas that we can't see inside the craters. Depending on how the camera picks up the photo and gets it clear enough, or the haze, whatever atmospheric disturbance on the surface, you can get a pretty good shot and a pretty good idea of what is down there on the surface or what is out there in space. You have to find a lit area, of course. Light is magical. Light is what brings all the beautiful images people are getting. It's the light that's deeper you go, guys. There's more and more light. It's hard to understand, but this can be used as a tool when you're taking photos. Look at the complexity in this, okay, and look at the massive size of it. You're looking at the OPH nebulae, and inside of it, the two black dots at the bottom and the red there, those are the two massive objects that are causing all this array of dust, planets, stars, and planetary nebulae. Planetary nebulae, absolutely exquisite. They get heavy, these nebulae clouds. And the objects and stars, here's an X-ray, the objects and stars that are forming inside sometimes don't come to completion, and they'll fall out, they'll become too heavy. Like the ones that do get completed, once they're heavy, they fall out, they cause stellar winds and more dust and gases to spread out into space. So let's talk a bit about interstellar clouds. How are interstellar clouds formed, and what are they? An interstellar cloud is the generic name given to an accumulation of gas, plasma, and dust in our and other galaxies. Put differently, an interstellar cloud is a denser than average region of the interstellar medium. How dense are the gases inside of a nebula? Well, pretty incredible, guys. You probably wouldn't even believe it. Half of the interstellar gas is compressed into 2% of our galaxy's volume. These relatively high density regions are called clouds or nebulae. Nebula, which is simply a Latin word for cloud. The densest nebulae can have densities of 10,000 molecules per cubic centimeter, or sometimes even more. That's compressed. Once you start studying this for a while, you start coming to the conclusion of just how vast the universe is, guys. Solar system formations. Scientists believe that the solar system was formed, actually, when a cloud of gas and dust in space were disturbed. Maybe by the explosion of a nearby star, maybe a supernova. The cloud would start to collapse as gravity would pull the gas and dust together, forming a solar nebula. And this is what they believe maybe the beginning of time began this way. But you can't help but wonder, maybe the entire universe and everything we know that is a part of this universe could just simply be one bright light. So when you look at it that way, the universe is vast and the solar system is but a grain of salt in the desert. This beautiful list of people are contributors to the channel. John Douglas, recent donation. Bro, I love you so much. Thanks for the generous donation. As always, John Douglas, you're so busy. I know, bro, you don't get the chance to write every day and comment like most of you don't, but I don't get to interact enough with all of you guys in the community, everyone on this channel, including especially the contributors, because I really want to thank you personally. Interact with me, get in touch with me. If you guys I don't know, I feel I have to interact with you guys and thank you all personally. WSO YouTube channel, check him out. He's checking out what other channels are getting up in the sky, and there's a lot. If we were inside of a nebula, guys, the entire universe, we would never have broken out to see actual sky. That everything that we're seeing over us, the blue, the darkness, is inside of the nebulae. As the systems rotate and turn and shift, we see different lights and arrays during different times of the year and of the day. We could be so small that if ever we were to get out of the nebula, which is in reality, it would be the end of our universe as we know it, we'd never make it out. Think of that one.